The MVP you're building is probably wrong. Mine have been two. In fact, I caught myself making one of the three most common mistakes just last week. These three mistakes are costly because they cause you to either throw away a perfectly good opportunity, or more likely you'll end up wasting months building or working on something that's never going to fly. So let me go through the three mistakes one by one, and I'll tell you which one I made this time. Mistake number one is thinking that a landing page with a simple mock-up is an MVP. I've made this one before after being inspired by Dropbox's startup story. If you haven't heard Dropbox's story, they created a demo video showing how Dropbox would make transferring files from computer to computer a breeze. That video went viral because, it was a problem people didn't know they had. And they're like, that's it, yes. And they ended up with a very large wait list, a very large list of emails. While this can still work, the so-called landing page MVP is getting rather old. And people are tired of signing up for pre-launch products that might never be delivered. The world is noisier and expectations are higher. So mock-up images or videos are pretty weak versus an actual MVP that you can try. If you think about it, you haven't actually solved any pain point. You're just promising that you might do so in future. I made this mistake years ago and I threw away what would have been a great opportunity. Since then, multiple profitable startups have been made with that very idea that I rejected, and that could have been me. That could have been my business. The next mistake is taking minimal too far and expecting people to fall in love with a buggy, incomplete piece of crap, excuse the language. But look, people are busy. They don't have time to look at a broken app that's incomplete, and don't expect them to see past the bugs and the missing pieces all over the place and imagine what could be. Your MVP needs to function properly, and it needs to solve the core pain point. Users will pull out their credit cards for a basic app, provided that it solves a problem, a big enough problem right now, today, not maybe in the future when you've polished your turd of an app and all the bugs are gone and the missing pieces are in there. Which brings me on to the third and final one, overbuilding. And I make this mistake over and over and over again. And just last week, I did it again. I was working on a simple app to create QR code labels for stingless beehives. This is more of a personal project, but I caught myself doing it yet again. The MVP was going to have a simple GUI plus a preview window so you could see the page with all the QR code labels ready for printing. Needless to say, creating this preview was taking longer than I wanted. And then I realized my mistake. Why build a preview at all? The core problem is to print unique ID labels with QR codes for each hive, not to be able to see it. So it's completely secondary to the core problem. So I ripped the Plugable render code out and I wrote code to generate the labels directly to a PDF file, which could be printed. And I finished the MVP in an hour or two. Overbuilding can cost you months or even worse of your life building a solution to a problem that nobody cares about. The whole point of an MVP or a minimal viable product is to find out as quickly as possible if your startup idea is something that the market wants. Every unnecessary bell and whistle that you add to your MVP is time wasted because it delays getting the market feedback that you so desperately need. I think that this last mistake, overbuilding, is the easiest to make. It's so easy to convince yourself that an unnecessary feature is a must-have. No, your app's MVP does not need multi-factor authentication or a fully featured billing system. You can get away without a self-serve password reset system. People can email you if they need to reset your password. How about you? Which mistakes have you made? Have you thrown away opportunities based on a landing page MVP? Did you build buggy and incomplete MVPs? Or have you wasted your months of your life overbuilding the MVP? Or did you make a completely different mistake? Let us know in the comments below. And remember, the MVP's job isn't to impress, but to find out if your idea, your business idea, solves a problem that people care about enough to pay money for. So make it small, make it work well, and get it in front of real users ASAP.